Hello. Would you like to travel with me to Georgia, in the Caucasus, to sightsee? Welcome. Georgia is a nation famous for its mountains, its green landscape, and its rich history. To travel to Georgia, first I'm landing in Istanbul, the only city in the world on 2 continents. You can see the Bosphorus and the Golden Horn. The city is surrounded by the sea in the north and the south, and the sea divides it in the middle. Istanbul airport is modern, but because there are so few travelators, it is tiring. I booked the smallest room at the airport. The next morning, I meet with my high school graduation class at the airport. I cannot film them yet because I must ask for their permission first. We are taking off. The plane starts to fly over the Black Sea. The Black Sea is called black because sometimes it appears black, but not today. We are landing in green Georgia. The tour guide is waiting for us at the airport. We are taking directly to the Tbilisi Reservoir, an artificial and popular lake near the capital city of Georgia, Tbilisi. Immediately afterwards, our tour guide takes us to the Chronicles of Georgia, a monument to the kings, queens, and heroes of Georgia. It reminds me of the Lord of the Rings movies, but they were filmed years later after this monument was built. Here's a first look at Tbilisi from the monument. I heard much about how beautiful Georgia is, but this view is not what I had in mind. The beauty of Georgia obviously lies in its mountains and coasts. We are taking to a traditional Georgian restaurant with a show. The next day, I get up very early. Here is my first impression of the city center. The first time I see the Georgian alphabet, it is beautiful. I lost my way and do not know where I am. The river saves me. Following the river, I find my way back. Another early riser from my high school. We walk back together. We are going up the hill as a group to the Narikala Fortress. I obtain permission to film my classmates and the tour guide here up on the hill. We look down on Tbilisi, with one building reminding me of penne noodles. The tour guide explains that most buildings in this style were built while Saakashvili was president of Georgia. The Cathedral of the Holy Trinity is a prominent site. We go down with the cable car. The young woman, whose face I do not film, was in the same cable car purely by coincidence. She fled from Russia to Georgia. Looking back up the same hill, we can see the statue Mother of Georgians. It was erected in 1958 to celebrate the last 1500 years of Georgian history. We cross the bridge we saw from up the hill and arrive in the historic center of Tbilisi. Artists are selling their paintings. Some are creating their paintings on the spot. Here are some high school classmates of mine. The Leaning Tower, with its clock, attracts many tourists. The statue of actors in front of the city theater. The sulfur baths are where, according to legend, Tbilisi was founded just over 1,500 years ago. What we now know as Georgia was two kingdoms then, Colchis and Iberia. There was a forest here. The king of Iberia was hunting here and shot a pheasant. The king's falcon caught the pheasant, but both birds fell into a hot spring and died. The king interpreted this as a sign from heaven and built his city here, Tbilisi. We are going to the Meidan Bazaar, which is completely underground. It was a lovely experience to walk through this bazaar. Historians agree that wine was invented here in Georgia. Archaeologists found the oldest evidence of wine production in Georgia dating back 8,000 years. The people are protesting against their own government that they had elected democratically. But since then, the government moved closer to Russia. The ruling party is under the influence of a billionaire. One of the protesters explained to me that approximately 75% of Georgians are in favor of joining the European Union, but that the next election again will be won by the ruling party. He predicted that the government will use trickery, but that fear will be equally important. According to him, many Georgians who dislike the political party in power will still vote for them because of fear that Russia could send troops if a European Union-friendly party should come into power. Our small group goes into the next restaurant we see. We are pleasantly surprised that it has live music. The only thing I regret in Tbilisi is that we did not have the time to visit the Georgian National Museum, which I hear is excellent. We are driving to the Jvari Monastery. I hope I am pronouncing it right. Jvari Monastery, the Monastery of the Cross, dates to the 6th century. It survived to the present day almost unchanged. I asked a Georgian to speak the language for us to hear. It was so windy I had to hold the smartphone practically to his nose.
გამარჯობა, მე დათო მქვია. მე ვარ გერმანულ ენოვანი გიდი. დღეს ჩვენ ვიმყოფებით მtskhetaში. მშვენიერი ამინდია, მზიანათებს როგორც ხედავთ. ჩვენ წინ არის მtskhეთის ჯვარი.
We are now in Mtskheta. It once was the capital city, but the capital was transferred down the river to Tbilisi. Today, less than 8,000 people live here. The Svetitskhoveli Cathedral, I hope I am pronouncing it correctly, is the main cathedral for the Georgian Orthodox Church. The oldest parts go back to the 4th century. Saint Nino was an enslaved woman in the 4th century. She fled, came to Georgia, preached Christianity, and founded this cathedral. A small church dedicated to her memory is situated on top of a hill and can be seen from here.
Merhaba, Azerbaycan'dan buraya geldiniz öyle mi? Evet. Mezun oldunuz diye. Tebrikler.
Biz Gürcistan'da yaşayan Azerbaycanlılarız. Yani doğma büyüme buralıyız ama Azerbaycanlıyız.
Gürcü biliyor musunuz?
Evet.
Biliyorsunuz. Çok değişik bir dil çünkü. Çok değişik bir lisan. Çok zor.
One of us is celebrating her birthday. We are driving towards the west on a country road. We arrive at Martvili Canyon. Unfortunately, the rangers will not allow us to take a boat ride or to see the whole canyon because there is too much water at the moment. Back on the country roads, we arrive at a Georgian marani. A marani is a family-owned winery. They grow, crush, and ferment the grapes and age the wine themselves. They also serve food. It was excellent. Here's that beautiful Georgian alphabet again. Our tour guide, Irina.
Bakın İstanbul Avusturya Lisesi 1977 mezunları. Schaut hier 1977 Maturanten österreichisches St. Georgs-Kolleg.
We are driving towards the Caucasus. Unfortunately, we do not have the time to visit these beautiful mountains. We arrive in Batumi, on the Black Sea coast. We check in at night. The next morning, we immediately go to the beach. Then walk around in the city. In Europe Square, there is the statue of Medea from the Greek myth of Jason and the Argonauts. This myth takes place in the 13th century BC. Most of this myth plays in what today is Georgia's coast. Medea leads Jason to the Golden Fleece. The myth probably is based on the fact that Georgians were able to extract large amounts of gold even at that time, 3,300 years ago. The view from my hotel room during daytime, the view behind my hotel, and the coast. The statue of Ali and Nino. The book describes a Muslim Azerbaijani boy and a Christian Georgian girl who love each other. They are allowed to marry, they have a daughter, but he is killed defending his country against the Soviet Union. The story symbolizes the power of love across cultural and religious divides and against the horrors of the world. Here's the statue of the big shoes, and nobody can explain to me what it signifies. Fishing on the Black Sea coast is popular. We are going to the Batumi Botanical Garden, established in 1912 by a botanist called Andrei Krasnov. It has one of the widest varieties of plants in the world.
Dieser Baum hat eine Blume wie eine Tulpe.
Because of its huge size, 108 hectares, divided into 9 sectors, we rent an electric utility vehicle. You can zipline here, but if the slope is not steep enough to bring you to the finish, it becomes more of an adventure than you had dreamt of. We are back in Batumi and buy fish at the fish market. The restaurant will prepare it. Of course, we choose the famous Black Sea turbot. Waiting for the fish. And here it is, along with other goodies. Back at the hotel, but we don't go to bed, instead walk back to the city. Georgians like their wine.
İbo'cum sen. Murat'cığım gel bakalım. Şerefe şerefe.
Batumi has many casinos, but I did not go. The next morning we go to the Black Sea coast again. Then we drive to the Makhuntseti Waterfall. 48 meters high. The locals say that its waters are rejuvenating. Queen Tamar lived in the 12th century and ruled by herself. The stone arch bridge, named in her honor, is 20 meters long and 6 meters high. We again go to a family-owned winery and restaurant. This dish, Khachapuri, is a cheese-filled bread with an egg. The shape of the bread symbolizes a boat, the cheese the waves of the Black Sea, and the egg yolk the sun. It tasted great.
Sen de mi gitmiyorsun bahsene?
This is the Çoruh River, the part of it that is a few kilometers east of the Turkish-Georgian border. We go to the airport because we fly back with two different airlines. The rest of us heads back to Batumi to take the cable car up the hill.
Duygu ve düşüncelerini alalım bugünle ilgili.
Vallahi Gürcistan tahmin ettiğimden çok daha güzel çıktı. Ümit ettiğim kadar iyi çıkmadı yalnız. Daha güzeldi tahmin ediyordum.
Yani o zaman bizimle gelmeyecektin.
It is a 15-minute ride down to the city. Another coffee break before it is time to return to the airport. The gorgeous mountains at the Turkish-Georgian border. I hope you enjoyed our 5 days together in Georgia. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.